community health icon.
No, it was busy.
Yeah.
Because he was a very open-hearted gentleman.
Gentleman, yes.
Yeah.
A question you have not yet answered though. What did you want to do post-matric at that?
Tended to
Discuss.
All
Alright, so basically you are still single-mindedly, pursuing your goal to be a specialist physician.
Yeah.
Now, how long did it take you to be a registrar? I don't even know what those days was the time of one being a registrar. Was it 4 years or 5 years? And did you do it in record time, or actually you passed even before the time allocated for being a registrar?
We had to work under supervision.
Yes.
They judge you, your knowledge and your enthusiasm.
Yes.
Yeah. After a year or two, then you get promoted.
Yes.
As a registrar.
Yes. Or still as an MO. Yeah. Or you go straight as a registrar?
No, you come as an MO.
As an MO?
Yeah.
So how many years did you spend as an MO, a medical officer?
About 2 years.
2 years before you could actually get into the program to be trained as a specialist?
As a specialist, yeah.
Yes, and how long did it take for you to actually do the training now towards being a specialist physician or internist?
Internist was 4 years, I think.
Yeah. And did you do it in 4 years? Or you were one of the bright people who finished it in 3 years?
No, I did it in the record time.
Yeah.
The official time was 4 years.
It was 4 years. And I assume by that time there was already the South African colleges of medicine.
Yes.
Yes, as the people who were certifying people who were becoming specialists.
Yeah.
So when did you become a specialist physician? No, not necessarily the date, just the year.
The year.
You can't remember that. 1966. 1966. This is a year before I was born.
I was in Davidson.
Yeah. Yes. I'm told you were the first black specialist physician. Right?
Yeah.
This
Out
is
of courage and sacrifice and
hard work.
Working hard.
Yes. You became the first specialist physician.
Yeah, and passed the college exams.
Yes. And those days, you pass and then you go to the grad in Cape Town or something like that?
Yes.
So was that because the college was based in Cape Town or?
Was based in Cape Town, the headquarters.
Yes. All right. Now, when you passed those college exams and now became officially a specialist physician, how did you feel? Because now you're breaking new ground.
Yeah, fellowship college physicians.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also encouraged me to go further if I can.
Yes.
That's how I became a cardiologist.
Okay, we'll get to that part. Nowadays, or in the recent past, you can become a specialist either through the college as a FCOP, is it FCP? FCP, right? Fellow of the College of Physicians.
Yes.
Or others via the MEd route, which is more of a university qualification.
Yeah.
Those days, was it already like that? Or, because when I was talking to one of the health icons, he said, a certain grouping, I think largely Afrikaners, felt that, things were not always going their way, and they motivated their government to actually allow a second route to specialization via universities. So at that time, was there already this second route, or you had to go through the college?
No, the route was off. It was a waste of time to go and make and then do fellowship.
Yes.
FCP. I went straight for FCP.
Yes, but the option was there
to
do it via some form of an MEd.
But it was just a delay.
It was just a delay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you became a specialist physician, the first one who has got a skin color like you.
Yes.
But then I understand there are some challenges that came with that, because there is this black person who is the first specialist physician, who is now supposed to practice as a specialist physician. Did you manage to practice as a specialist physician immediately, or you actually just continued through the academic route to cardiology?
No, I worked a little bit in Davidson.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a physician.
Yes. And then you decided, no.
Went back to Ghana then to specialize.
Yes. And that was another, 2 more years to become a cardiologist, I'll call it super specialist or subspecialty.
You have to be a physician first.
Yes, I agree.
Become a cardiologist.
Yes. So how many years now of that subspecialty?
2 years.
Extra 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're combining these 6 years of undergrad, no, let's go back. 2 years at Forte.
Yeah.
6 years at Wits to be an undergrad medical doctor. Another 4 years, in internship.
Registrar.
With the 2 years of being an MO.
Yeah.
Another 2 years to become a cardiologist. This guy, guys, this is long. This is long. You need commitment, to actually. But Prof, he was passionate about cardiology. He was passionate about internal medicine, and nothing could change his mind from that.
No.
All right. Having been the first black specialist physician, you now the first black cardiologist.
Yes.
What did it mean to you? Because you are just breaking records.
Not really anything except that I was looking at myself as achieving my ambition.
Yes. Prof. Mara, there's a sense of humility here. Can you brag a bit? Can you brag a bit about those achievements, Prof?
No, I was just working to be perfect myself.
Yes.
Without boasting, showing colors.
Yes.
To the world.
Yes. But I mean, you earned it, Prof.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, your success as the first black cardiologist, yes, it was celebrated, but it also brought some challenges in terms of you actually practicing as a cardiologist.
Yeah.
You were looking for opportunities to practice as a cardiologist.
You couldn't do private practice.
You could not go into private practice based on your color.
Yeah, you have to be employed at South Africa or go to Swaziland.
Yes.
Yeah.
So because there were no opportunities for you to practice as a cardiologist in South Africa, you had to look at opportunities outside of our country. And I understand that you went to Botswana.
Dr. Mweti and his wife were there.
Dr. Mweti and his wife.
Yeah.
How did you know them?
They came from Eastern.
Yes.
Springs.
Springs.
All right. So they were working in Springs and you befriended them?
Yeah, we're friends.
Oh, you were friends. Yeah. And then they invited you over to Bechuanaland. Those days it was called Bechuanaland. Yes. And to become a cardiologist there. How receptive was that country to this record-breaking black cardiologist who also had political inclinations to come to their country?
Not very much, because the people in charge were white.
Yes. It was still under the British colonial rule.
Yeah.
So, did they make life difficult for you? Because I understand you spent less than a year there.
And then I called to...
You spent only 1 month.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah, 1 month.
1 month.
What did they do? No, before we talk about Swaziland.
Yeah.
Yes. What happened that actually told you that this is not the right place for me?
No, I was not making any progress. I was not giving an assurance of permanent employment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you thought, you know what? Let me look at greener pastures, my own country. is not giving me opportunities.
Yeah.
The neighboring country of Bechuana land, Botswana, is not really giving me security of employment. Then there's a gentleman that you qualified with,
Yeah.
Dr. Nubano.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Alan.
Alan Numalo,
Yeah.
who was your fellow, fellow student. You qualified together,
Yeah.
at Wits University. That time he had gone up to become a minister. Am I right?
Yeah.
He was a minister of health there.
Yeah.
So he invited you over
He wanted a specialist to come and head a department in Swaziland.
in Swaziland.
Mm.
And so you decided, well, let me continue on my journey, in exile. Because you remember now we had already been in Botswana.
Yeah.
Now Botswana is giving you challenges. Now you're coming to Swaziland.
Yes.
At least you are being invited by somebody you knew very well. You qualified with Dr. Numalo.
Yeah.
How was it in Swaziland? And I'm assuming that in all of these, you are taking your family along, or always, like a reverend. When you move from one place to the other, you come with your family. So in these journeys, the 1 month in Botswana and the sojourn into Swaziland, you had your family there as well.
All the time.
Yes.
Mm.
So how did you find your time in Swaziland?
It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Very, very peaceful and very rewarding.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, and you were able to practice
Yeah.
as a cardiologist,
Yeah.
with all the respect, and appreciation that comes with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even
Just hold on, Prof. We have got a Pule here, your son. We put him on standby so that where necessary, you can be able to add 1 or 2 things. Yeah.
I was just going to remind you that during his sojourn in Swaziland,
He
was actually appointed as a personal physician of King Sophus.
Oh, yes.
That's a highlight.
Personal physician.
Yes.
Of,
That's a highlight.
personal physician
Yes.
of the king himself.
Now, that's the highest honor. You come into a country, you are invited by the Minister of Health, and the ruler, the traditional or ruler or the king of this place actually appoints you as his personal physician.
Yes.
What did that mean to you, Prof?
It's an honor.
Eh,
I'm very proud.
yes. And, but you didn't stay very long in Swaziland though.
I stayed long enough for me to get satisfaction.
Yes, plus minus how many years, Pule?
3 years.
3 years that he spent in Swaziland. 69 to 72. 72 was when I started my sub-A. All right. So, but why did you then decide, okay, my 3 years, I've done my part, let me explore another country?
No, it was a question of coming back to South Africa.
Yes. You didn't go to Lesotho straight from Swaziland?
No, I didn't go straight.
Okay,
No,
so...
you did.
Eh?
Straight?
Yes, 72, you moved to Lesotho.
Yes.
How long were they for?
And Lesotho, you were there until 75. That's when you left.
So he had this thing about 3 years. Every 3 years he gets an itch. So he got a 3 years in Swaziland. He got an itch, and then he went to Lesotho and did work there from 72 to 75.
75, 76.
75, 76. Just about another 3
I
years.
think it was contract. It's a contract
Yes.
for 3 years in these former colonies.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Interesting chap, Dr. Mokhobo,
Yeah.
was a psychiatrist.
Yes.
Yeah, so we became part
Ko
of the
Lesotho.
team. Ko Lesotho, yeah.
Eh, he invited you now. Come this side to the Mountain Kingdom.
Yeah,
How did you find the Mountain Kingdom?
pleasant.
Yeah.
Mm.
Fresh air there.
Fresh air.
They're closest to God.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So you obviously continued still as a physician cardiologist there. Were you working in Maseru or you were working in another place
Then Marcel.
in Maseru? and there was this university next door, Roma University. Obviously, it didn't have the medical faculty, so you couldn't contribute, in that way. So you were basically in the hospitals doing your work.
Yeah.
But then, around 1976, you then got invited by Lucas Mangope, who was leading in Moputatswana.
Yeah.
He said, you know what, my homeboy, I think you must come back home.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that invitation? Remember, being a political person, the issue of homelands, was a big touchy issue, because other people were saying, by working with homelands, you are a collaborator, because I'm saying this as someone who comes from Transkei, which was the first of these homelands to be established as an independent, type of thing. Now you were being invited by, Moputatswana, by Chief Lucas Mangope, who also a year later actually accepted independence. So wasn't there any conflict in your mind, with the political depth that you have, and yet, accepting an invitation by a homeland leader who were those days seen as stooges?
No, there's no conflict. But I was a professional at heart.
Yes.
And he's invited me. I looked at it as a professional.
Yes.
I'll come and work there.
Yes, yes. I think for people who are watching here, I'm not saying he was a stooge, but the opponents of the homeland system, they referred to all homeland leaders, self-governing or independent, as people who were actually furthering the aims of apartheid. So it is why I'm asking this question. Anyway, you went to, to Moputatswana, and the capital town was, Mabato, Mafikeng. This is the time in the late 70s now. How was that eventually in South Africa? Yes, it's a homeland, but still I'm in South Africa. How was that homecoming?
Mangope was a very progressive leader.
Yeah.
And he wanted the best of his country.
Yes.
And so once I was there, he sent I and a couple of young guys abroad to study the situation, come back with the knowledge. And
yes. So was this now, you already a cardiologist, but to go and sort of benchmark elsewhere, get more knowledge, get more experience. Just, can you mention one or two places, outside of, the country where, Mangope facilitated for you guys to further your knowledge and education? Denmark, that is one of those Scandinavian countries, with a very good health system. Yeah. And is there any other country that you went to?
To work?
Yeah, no, to get this almost like an exchange, kind of program or further training.
No.
Yes. What are the highlights of your time in Denmark? The training that you went through. Was there something unique in terms of the skills or experience that you brought home? Okay, let's just ask Pule. Is actually telling us that there is something that he needs to just correct.
Yeah, let me just jog the old man's memory.
Yeah.
The Denmark part came while he was still in Lesotho.
Oh, Denmark came whilst he was still in Lesotho.
The Lesotho government sent him to Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
For 12 months.
Yeah.
I can't
Full 12 months.
Yeah, I was
there.
going to study something there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not the Moputatswana days.
Yes.
It was the Lesotho days.
Okay. So basically, he's just setting, correcting the situation in terms of sequence. So whilst Prof was in Lesotho, in that 3 years, he had to go and spend 12 months in Copenhagen.
Yeah, sent by the Lesotho government.
Sent by the Lesotho government.
They lent me a passport.
Yes.
Yeah, they gave him a passport.
Yes, to be able to go and do that, because he couldn't go with the South African passport, because the Scandinavian countries were part of the broader anti-apartheid, movement, and so that could have been a bit of a challenge fine. Eventually came back to South Africa. He went and worked under Mokhobo.
Yeah.
Did he also, when I say he, the government of Mokhobo,
Mokhobo.
yes, did they send you elsewhere to further your studies? Or to benchmark, or to refresh your knowledge, or add to your knowledge? And Pule, you can add if you think there is an area.
So Homungwe and I went to is it Switzerland or somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We copy some issues.
Yeah, so that you could come and and set up,
Yeah.
improve the health system of Mokhobo.
Yeah.
Yes. And so what was your position there though? Were you just a specialist physician, cardiologist, or you also had a role to play from a broad health system management and leadership, or you were an advisor to those who were setting up the health system?
No, I was head of the department.
Head of department. What, Mabato Hospital or Mafike Hospital? What hospital?
Mafike.
Mafike.
It was Bupilong Hospital.
Bupilong.
We are Bupilong.
Bupilong Hospital.
Yeah.
Go Mafike.
Yeah.
Yes, and obviously you were heading the cardiology, or you were heading, internal medicine. Which one exactly?
Cardiology.
Cardiology and internal medicine.
Works together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. I understand you were, people, people who had recently qualified as doctors wanted to go and do their internship and MO at your hospital. But Pule is raising another hand. Yeah?
Yeah, you must remember that he was eventually made superintendent
Okay.
of Bupilong Hospital.
Yes.
And that's when all these young doctors, the Dr. Lopez, Motsipes, and so on,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
chairs came to do the internship.
Yeah. So he became popular first, as a cardiologist,
Yeah.
but then he became a superintendent of Bupilong Hospital.
Almost
And-
every student wanted to come
And
internship.
newly qualified doctors
Yeah.
wanted to be trained under him. And I think one of the most prominent of those people is the wife of the current president, President Ramaphosa's wife, Dr. Mutsipe. Tsepo Mutsipe,
Yeah.
is one of those people.
Yeah.
But I also know there's another one, Dr. Net Khaule, is also one of the people that came through his hands whilst he was at Bopilong. Any other notables, Pule, that you can remember?
Professor Ntleo became a surgeon, yes.
Professor Ntle, who became a surgeon, also came through Prof, but he's late now. Any other notable that you can make, Pule, because just to help us there?
There were a lot of others, but they left.
There were many others, but the point is, people wanted to work under Prof because he had developed a reputation of being a good mentor, a good coach, a good teacher. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you are working as a superintendent in Bupilong, in Mokhobo. But deep in your heart, you are an academic. So something was still missing.
I was getting part-time,
Part-time lecturing opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to feed the academic side of you.
Yeah.
I know that at some point you actually applied, to Medunsa to join them as a cardiologist, and you were turned down purely,
As a Bantu.
on the color of your skin as a Bantu. How did that make you feel?
No, it inspired me to be bigger than life itself.
Yeah. So you didn't resent that situation,
No.
and anyway, it was not the first time that you had experienced, racism. Instead of actually, breaking you down, it
Yeah.
became an inspiration. So even this one became an inspiration for
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Challenge and inspiration.
Yes. But then, Professor, Ephraim Kubedi Mokhobo, who was the first HOD at Medunsa, who is black, heading ONG.
Yeah.
He invited you to Medunsa.
Yeah.
At the time, Medunsa was still very young, and again, politically, there were still some issues about Medunsa as a medical institution of teaching medical students in Southern Africa. People like Prof. Mokhobo, who had left University of Natal, partly due to some racism issues, they were actually being insulted that they were selling out. Now, you are being invited by him. Some people still saw him as a sellout. What was, again, I keep on asking the same question politically. You didn't think there's a suicide situation here, accepting this invitation where people were still having question marks about the institution itself?
No.
Again, as a professional, you looked at it purely as a professional,
It's a challenge.
as a challenge, and you went in. And what was your portfolio or position when you got to Medunsa? Like, did you become a new head HOD, or you became an assistant HOD, or you became just a cardiologist and worked yourself up?
I went as a cardiologist to put
Yeah.
myself up.
Yes. Up until what level, did you eventually become an HOD, at Medunsa?
No, so I think I'm a HOD of
Yes.
department.
Yes. But what's the highest level? What's the highest level that you achieved, working within Medunsa?
No, I remained a cardiologist.
Yes.
Yeah, head of cardiology.
So you were, all right, again, Pule wants to correct us there. Yeah.
Yes, he started teaching in cardiology and internal medicine.
He started teaching in cardiology and internal medicine.
Yes.
Then he became the HOD.
He actually became a head of department of what? Of
Internal medicine and
Cardiology they together.
So because they were combined,
Yeah.
so he became an HOD of internal medicine and cardiology.
And then he became the dean.
All right. So
And
yeah,
that was
just
during your time.
yes,
I
Yes.
think he was acting.
Or acting dean.
yes.
Yes.
All right. So he actually did rise up to a point. You went up to a point of being the HOD of internal medicine and cardiology.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And then subsequently, I'm told you became, is it an acting dean?
Acting dean.
An acting dean.
David would know.
Yes. There's no way of miking David. Is there a way of miking him so that when he has a contribution, he can be able to add that contribution whilst he's still here? And here we're talking the doc, who is the chairperson of the KP Mokhobo Foundation. KP Mokhobo Foundation. So we are miking him up because he's got some valuable information to help us with as we are actually going through the life and the times of this great man in front of me. Obviously, at age 91, whilst his memory is still very sharp, but there are areas where we just need to jog his memory a bit, and that's what we are doing now. So can you just tell us, Doc,